So what's up YouTube? It's me again, Adrian Thompson. Obviously, I'm in a little bit different of a scenery. I'm traveling a decent amount for work. That's why I missed last week. But today I kind of want to figure out and put it out there if you guys think I should pay off my student loans. I'm genuinely going to use this video to really help me decide whether or not I'm going to be paying off my student loans today. I have the money to pay it off. I'm not saying I'm never going to pay it off, just whether or not I'm paying today or should I hold that money and wait until a later date. But with me thinking about all of this, I thought it'd be a good idea to use as a topic to actually break down student loans in this country and kind of see how it affects millions of Americans. So if you like this type of video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and let's run the intro so we can go ahead and get in the video. So if you haven't heard, student loans are a pretty big issue in this country. There's over 45 million Americans with student loans that total a grand total of $1.71 trillion of student loan debt. Now, this isn't intrinsically a bad thing if 45 million people were taking out almost $2 trillion of debt, but getting a good return of investment off of those loans, so they had $2 or $3 trillion of increased income, then this wouldn't be an issue. But as you may have guessed, that isn't what's happening in terms of the student loan debt to income ratio in this country. And by the way, I live in the United States. I know it might be different, and I have viewers from all around the world. From my personal experience with these student loans, what it's forced me to do is to put off doing adult things like buying a car in cash or saving up money for a down payment or getting engaged or married at an earlier age. I know in my personal situation, I would be in a house and married already if I didn't have this $17,000 of student loan debt. And in the spectrum of things, $17,000 of student loan debt isn't even a bad situation, because some people and the average person actually has it a lot worse, almost twice as worse than me. Now, the reason I haven't paid off my student loans until this date is when I left college. I have a few videos explaining how I had a high interest car loan and whatnot. So there were debts I was trying to tackle before my student loan debts. And then at the time of me getting to the point where I was attacking my student loans, COVID came around and everything got put into 0% interest rates. So I just haven't paid it, and I've had my money in stocks and savings accounts. Personally, I think $17,000 to go to the school that I went to, which costs about $250,000, isn't a bad price to pay, and I'm not upset about paying my student loans back. But I do know there are some people where the situation is flipped, where they're getting an $18,000 education or $17,000 education, but they're paying $250,000 for it. The real issue here is in high school, they kind of push you towards going to college, and they'll throw stats out there which are true. Like if you have a college education, you're going to make 32% more money in your salary than somebody with a high school diploma. Now, that's not a false stat. You will make more money with a college education than without a college education. But the main issue here is that colleges have grown to be grossly and astronomically overpriced. So like I said, remember there's $1.7 trillion across 45 million Americans. That means that the average American has roughly $37,000 of student loan debt. So think about it like this. I looked this up before I shot the video. The average income of somebody with a high school diploma is $30,000, and the average income of somebody with a college degree is only $44,000. And on top of that, they're not working for those 4 years. So the person with the high school degree that didn't go to college would have made $120,000 in the meantime. So that's a grand total of $157,000 on average that you have to give up to go to college. Now, I know I've said average a lot, but it's really important. So if you take that $44,000 average and compare it to that $30,000 average, it's going to take you 11 years to make up that delta and the money that you lost just going to college for those 4 years. And that's not even taking into consideration that you're going to be paying off debt while the other person could have been investing their money, further increasing that gap. All of that is to say, going to college is a financially worse decision until you're 33, which is a little ironic. I was thinking about this, and I really think people fall into 3 buckets of student loan to income ratios, and each of those people have to decide how to pay back their loans in completely different ways. Now, the first bucket is on one end of the spectrum, and I'm just going to say it's the best one to be in. That means you have a very good income with little or no debt, and you can go ahead and take care of your student loans inside of 1 year. Now, the second bucket is somebody who on average took out that $37,000 of debt, and their income is roughly $44,000, meaning if they lived and scraped, they could probably pay back the loans in 2 to 3 years if they're really lucky, nothing comes up. And I think that's where most people actually lie. And then the third bucket, unfortunately, is how most people perceive how people take out student loans. By that, it means they think they went to a large private school and got a useless degree and they have $250,000 of debt and they're only going to make $30,000 with their degree. That's actually not a lot of people and doesn't make up a large portion of the student loan crisis whatsoever. In fact, the majority of money in the student loan crisis are people going to grad school and getting higher level education outside of undergrad in order to make more money. And we know financially and statistically that those people do end up making more money on average. Personally, I would say that I fell anywhere in between the first and second bucket because now I have a decent income and I was able to take care of my student loans inside of a year, but I didn't start tackling my student loans until 2 years after college. But I also have a younger brother who goes to Cornell. Just so you know, Cornell's pretty expensive, and we were having this conversation about what he should do with his student loans. And this was kind of the parameters that I gave him, and I think it works for most people. So you want to take whatever major you think you're going to graduate with and be very conservative and very skeptical of that. If there's a major that pays $100,000 coming out of college and you think you might graduate one that pays for $40,000 after college, go with the $40,000 option. So my advice to him was not to take out loans more than the entry level pay and shoot for taking out loans half of the entry level pay of that starting position. That's really important. Not the average income of whatever your major makes, but the average income of that starting position. So the reasoning behind that is if you have an entry-level position making, let's just say $40,000, you have $40,000 of student loan debt. That is a lot of money to tackle, and you might not be able to tackle it in 2 years, but hypothetically, if you were able to take all of that money home and you didn't have to pay taxes, you could live off of half your income and then pay the student loans back with the other half. In reality, after taxes, it's going to really be a 2 to 3 year plan, but it'll force you to, at worst case scenario, be in that middle bucket and not find yourself in that third bucket. But really, I want to know your guys' opinion. What should I do with my student loans? So I have $5,000 in a savings account, $20,000 in stocks. I could easily wipe away the $17,000 tomorrow if I wanted to. But in my head, since it's at 0% interest right now, and I'm in pretty safe stocks, and the savings account I have is Ally, so it's roughly, I think, 1.1% growth. I'm making more money and basically getting a discount paying for my college or waiting to pay for my college in a few months. Or should I wait and see if Biden's actually going to take away $10,000? Let me know if you guys think about that below. I personally don't think it's going to happen, nor am I going to hold on to money hoping it's going to happen. So let me know what you guys think I should do. If you like this type of video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Sorry if I'm kind of whispering. I'm in a hotel. I don't want to bother the people around me, but like and subscribe. And remember, it may be hard now, but it doesn't always have to be. I'll see you in the next one.